Hey folks, Frank Zorrilla here, Zor Capital, Sunday, March 31st, 2024. Happy Easter to all who celebrate. Doing a quick video going over the top 400, which I did something similar last week. The top 400 means what I'm doing is I'm taking the best performing stocks in different time frames. 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, year to date, 12 months. The top 250 stocks that have doubled since their 52-week lows. When you take all those time frames times 250, the simple math is about 1,700 names. But most of the names, some of the best performing stocks on a 1 month basis are also the best performing in the 3 month and 6 month basis. Bottom line is that we were able to narrow down the universe of stocks to 509 names. You can argue that these 509 names are the strongest stocks based on performance over the last 3 to 6 months, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start by any stock that within the last 40 days on any given day traded over 20 million shares, which is not something that happens. Not many stocks trade over 20 million shares in any given day. So normally when it does happen, that means that something probably significant happened, okay? But let's start. The first name on the list is SMCI. I have these color candles here. Purple candle means that any stock over the last 40 days that was up 4% or more on that one given day on 3 times the average 20-day volume. The yellow candle, that's an inside day. This candle right over here, this light blue candle, that's an inside day on the lowest volume in the last 10 days. So normally under the right context, you might have a stock that had great momentum, traded sideways for 15 days, and at the very end of that consolidation, what you tend to see, you see price contraction and you see volume contraction. And many times you're going to see an inside day printed on the lowest volume in the last 10 days. These gold candles here, that's NR7, very similar to an inside day. So here, SMCI, look, it looks okay. On this day over here, it looked like it went parabolic, blow off top, but it's right back here above this closing high, right? The stock printed an inside day. All these setups that I'm going to talk about today are for tomorrow, right? My time frame is anywhere between 1 to 5 days. So whatever stocks I'm talking about today, they're only valid for tomorrow. So in a situation like this, this stock printed an inside day, very low volume. I like the stock going through this high, which is 1033, right? So tomorrow, I'll put a buy stop at 1033.10, right? And then my stop is going to be right over here at 986. Now, 1033, that's roughly about $23 away. That seems like a lot. But the average true range for this stock in the last 14 days is roughly $88. In the last 5 days is 96. So 23, it's still very well within that $88 ATR. Okay, so we're going to jot down SMCI. And by the way, listen, the market since the 4th of March, as far as trading is concerned, I think it's been a little sluggish. I know a lot of people talk about the S&P printing new highs and XYZ, but that's the S&P 500. That's the market in whole as a general. Individual stocks, I think ever since the 4th of March, it's been a little bit of a struggle, not much follow through, and it's gotten a little bit more selective. Okay, so I know when people talk about the S&P 500 reaching highs, people, they take a blanket, they take the S&P 500 blanket and throw it versus all stocks. Not all stocks are the same. Okay, CLSL, nothing here. I'm gonna go through this rapid fire. What I'm looking for is Meta. Again, what's significant about these stocks, the Max 7, Magnificent 7, the FANG names, whatever the case may be, they've been respecting this 21-day moving average for a long time. Meta, for the first time in a while, for the first time since December or November, right over here, closed below its 21-day moving average. Right, so since things are getting a little bit more selective, I want something to stand out to me. So I'm going to jot some of these names down. If I do take them based on my recent trading, it's not going to be with large size. But here, ARM, it got going, and then here it had a big down day. But here's an inside day. This looks okay, but again, it's just the market. Okay, But here, 128.32 is the high. 128.42 is the buy point. Stop loss, it's 124, this low. Okay, so when I say market, it should tell you something, that the market's just been a little, it hasn't been very rewarding for short-term traders, I believe, since the 4th of March. If for some reason it's been different for you, that's awesome. Continue doing what you're doing. So we're going to go through all the stocks. First, we're going to go through all the stocks that traded over 25 million shares on any given day. And I jot these things down. Like here, 109 million. This was based on earnings. 91 the next day. Bought this a couple of times. We mentioned that inside day. Here's a stock that went up huge, consolidated here at the very end of the consolidation. You see the tight candles. Here you had the inside day on the lowest volume in the last 10 days, and my buy stop was right above over here. High of 1634. That was 226. Here long 227, 1649. Bought it a couple of more times. CWRD. Here's another stock another big cap, high growth, Russell 1000 name, 21-day moving average has been support for a while. Every time it got below it, came right back above. We closed below the 21-day on Friday. And here it had a little breakout. I bought the stock right over here through this high. Really no follow through, and it came back down the next day and then closed below the 21-day moving average. So you might want to check the Max 7 names. Uber, another one. Again, here's the yellow line. That's the 21-day moving average. It's been support for a while. Closed below it, right back above. We closed below it again on Friday. That's something to take a look at. Normally in a situation like this, when the market is kind of like sluggish, treading water, I would normally go in and short one of the indices, but that hasn't worked. Bad breath in the market has not led to anything significant as of yet for the major indices, and part of the reason is because these big cap names are dominating the Qs and the S&P 500 and SMCI. For the most part, they share dominated the returns for the Russell 2000. But if these big cap names start to go down, then the FANG names and the S&P 500 might be worth a short. It might matter to the indices. And some of these stocks might not be ready for tomorrow. Like, for example, when I look at VKTX, right, had some great news right over here, double inside day. For me, they might not be ready for tomorrow, but at some point they will. You can even go to a lower time frame, and you will probably find more setups by going to a lower time frame and then making your time frame an intraday time frame, not a daily time frame. DELL Computers, here's another one, printed an inside day on the lowest volume. Here, 62 million shares, strong AI optimized service momentum. The backlog nearly double. That's for earnings. Again, this looks okay. High on Friday is 114.45. Buy stop 114.55. Stop loss right over here at $110 a share. But it looks okay. The only thing that really matters is the market environment right now has not been too conducive for short-term trades. So far, there were roughly 70 names in the last 40 days that trade over 20 million shares. If I take all the filters, if I take out the whole momentum filter, then you're going to have roughly only 165 names in the last 40 days that traded over 20 million shares on any given day. And some of those stocks are like Apple, Bank of America, that they're just not momentum stocks, or they have not been doing well lately. Now let's take a look at the inside days, okay, to see if we, so SMCI inside day, we have that on the list. ARM inside day, we have that on the list. LYFT is okay, not bad, but in the situation with LYFT, which looks okay, you have to give it into the 21-day moving average. These big cap companies with large flows, they normally respect the 21-day moving average. So if you get long this stock here, you have to give it to at least 1820, which is where their 21-day moving average is. DKNG, this had a big down day because I believe something in college sports said, hey, we should stop gambling or something to that effect, and the stock had a big down day. You know, it looks okay. I mean, I'm just going to jot these down, but so far this list is more for academic purposes. I'm looking for something to stand out, and where something that stands out, instead of me saying, hey, it looks good, market, I want something where it's just, there's no doubt this is the one. And so far, I have not found that. And that can change, right? Just because the market hasn't been doing well, people believe that, oh, the market has bad breath, hasn't, you know, stocks are not participating, that we should go lower. No, it can right itself and go higher. Immediately people believe that if you mention something about breath not being great, that you're bearish. No, it can get better. Stocks can, you know, overnight go from going down to going up. They can go from not following through to following through. And again, and if you go, like, you can take all these names. Frog, here's another one that's tried to go a few times. It just doesn't go. Try here. I went long right over here. The next day through this inside day, just wouldn't go. Right over here at inside day, had it on the list, didn't take it, had it on the list here. Goes up for a day and a half, and then it just goes back in. So Frog, again, inside day, 44.62 is the Friday high. You got to give it to the 21-day moving average, so the stop is 42.65. And again, just to reiterate, so far, this is going to be purely for academic purposes tomorrow. I doubt if I take any of these, and if I do, it'll be with very small size, just moving the pawns around, testing the waters. And you have to do the homework. You can't just say, hey, I'm not going to do the homework. You got to do the homework. You got to make up your own list. So that way you know when things are changing, because things can change overnight. You know, here's another one, big earnings. I think here something came out. I don't know if it was a secondary offering or some type of bond offering, but it came right back up. It looks okay, right? Inside day, down 3 days in a row. Here's the 21-day moving average. You know, the buy stop's going to have to be 29.70. Low over here, 21-day moving average, call it $28 a share. ACMR. Yeah, and this is not a setup, but closed at 1081, 1120, 1130 in the aftermarkets, and that's because I forget which hedge fund. Might have been RA Capital. You got to double check. Just took a stake in NKTX, or at least the event was publicized Friday after the close, I believe. In the good market, so those are all the inside days. Let's go to any stocks that are down 3 days in a row or more. If you take a look, if you go through charts and you start to view not just your cookie cutter, you know, broker recent high breakouts, but you start to view and start to look at charts from where are stocks moving from. Right? For example, SMCI, you can say that the move started, or this recent move started right over here once it broke this high. Right? That's when the move started. It was down multiple days in a row. Same thing over here, down multiple days in a row. The move started after it was down 3 days in a row. So if you start to take a look at charts and start to notice where stocks are starting their moves from, you're going to realize that a lot of them start their moves after being down multiple days in a row. Okay? SMCI, we already have on the list. SIY, no. And in a better market condition, right? If we had a better market environment, at least for individual stocks, the market itself, the S&P 500 is trading at 52-week highs. You can't say anything wrong about that if you own the market. That's all you own. If you own the S&P 500 and you have $100,000 in the market and all 100 is in the S&P 500 in the Qs, none of this matters. Breath doesn't matter. The market is doing great. But if you're trading, you know, that could be a different story. So if we were in a better trading market environment, and some of these trades that are a little iffy, they would, you know, they would be longs because the market would be in a stage where the rising tide's lifting all boats. That's just not the case right now. Left we already have. DKNG. NVIDIA also with an inside day. This is 3.8, right? Yeah, it looks okay. It's up so much. Probably needs a little bit to rest a little bit more. DELL computers we already have. All right, so that's all the stocks that are down 3 days in a row and more. Let's go on to here. All right, let's take a look at some of these small caps. Big candle here, 82 million shares. There's some type of merger, nothing there. Root. So here we're gonna, these are the little small stocks that make big percentage moves for the most part. So these are the stocks that have the highest momentum in the last 3 months. Janix. Again, I'm long this stock, right? It's just here. When was it? One of these days here, 325. Okay, yeah, okay. So 325 through this high. I'm giving it to the 21-day moving average. Not much going on. Still looks good, right? Looks good going through 29.23 for tomorrow with a stop below this 21-day moving average. And again, if you wanted more setups, you can narrow down, you can lower your time frame to the 30-minute time frame, which is what I'm going to do during the week. I'm going to lower my time frame to the 30-minute time frame and take a look at the stocks with the most amount of volume, up the most in the short term, just for day trades. And I'll give you an example, just one that popped up this week. I took 3 of them. 2 of them were winners. 1 was a loser. One of them that was a winner, you know, I took a decent profit percentage-wise, but then it doubled overnight. So what I do with this list is that I jot down the list, I put it on the watch list, which I'm going to show you right now, 331.41. Yeah, there's nothing here. Nothing here. Nothing there. Right, so I put this on the watch list. Okay, and my criteria, you know, so we went through it. I like the way these stocks look. I don't like the market, whatever the case may be. We don't have any idea out of all these names which stock is going to break out, which stock is going to be the biggest winner, because they're all pretty much large cap companies. And again, what matters the most is how much money you make with some of these trades. Again, the higher dollar names are going to give you the dollar gains. The small cap names they're going to give you the biggest percentage winners, but the big cap names, those are the ones that are going to move the account a little bit more, especially if you have a larger account, because you know, normally the stops are a little bit tighter in the big caps than in the small caps. Okay, so I go here, and my trigger, my alert would be when the closing price reaches Friday's high, which is C is over H1, which is Friday's highs. And then once that alert goes off, then that gives me the opportunity or the chance, if I don't already have my buy stops in place, to put the order in. Okay, so for example, ACMR, my buy stop will be at 29.70. Frog, buy stop is going to be at 44.72. DELL Computers, 114.55. LYFT, 19.79. And now, based on what the market's been doing lately, chances are extremely high that I'm not going to put my buy stop at the open, which is what I normally do. More than likely, I'm going to wait until after 10 o'clock. Okay, so you have to have the proper situational awareness, know what's going on with your trading lately, and then you can make those type of adjustments. But like I said, we have no idea which stock is going to break out, which was going to be the biggest winner. Our job is to just put the buy stops in and let the market do whatever it is it's going to do. Now, you can get more trading ideas or have more setups if you go in a lower time frame. So here, this KZU group was one that I traded. When was it? Right over here somewhere. Right, it's a stock that was up already. It was up 2 days in a row. Where I bought it right over here, actually, $7 and change. Sold it, I believe, at $9 a share, and then it just took off. Right, so you can find these ideas of stocks that are up huge in the short term, and then they consolidate, and then what ends up happening is in the consolidation, you see the volume start to contract here. Very simple. Low volume, low volume. And this is where I bought it, right over here. On this candle right over here. Okay? And it was a big winner. Let me see if I can find... I took a note of it. Here. CZU day trade. Let me see if I can make it bigger. The stock went to 20. So here's was my buy point. And then had I left the piece until it broke the 5-minute 10-day moving average, or the 5-minute 10-day average, it would have gotten me out at $10 and change. But this is it right here. The stock was already up big. So you can narrow down your universe and then take a look at the stocks that were up the most, with the most amount of volume in the last 5 days, and then look for these flag patterns, these little consolidation. Make sure that the volume is extremely low, and then once they break resistance or some type of flag pattern, then you go in and then just follow it. So that's it for the day. Again, the market it's okay, right? If you own the S&P 500, it's all you own, nothing to worry about for now. But individual trading, I think ever since the 4th of March, things have gotten a little slow, a little bit sluggish. You can see that in the FANG names as well. And it's normal, right? What we're looking for are these small windows of opportunities that we've been getting in the market, trading opportunities, and that's where we're going to make the money. And the way I've been looking at it, the way it's been happening to me, those windows have been small, right? Especially in the daily time frame. On the intraday time frame, it's a different story. That could be different. But if you start taking a look at some of the tweets of people who actually trade, you're seeing the same type of sentiment as you're hearing here right now. Okay? These are the people that trade individual stocks. They're saying the same thing. And there's a reason why. Yes, the market is doing great if you own the market by itself. But either way, trade them well and be well. And I'll see you guys this week.